see on TV and who they love and adore doing things behind the scenes to like break down a person all for the sake of a show. I just think that they're so invested emotionally with that person. They don't want to think the worst of them. And what I've exposed is the dirty, dark secrets. And they don't want to put those two and two together because then they won't, like, your conscience will kick in and you'll be like, wait, like, how could I like this girl? Look at what she was doing behind the scenes. That's fucked up. So I don't think they want to come to terms with like letting her go, letting the person they adored for years go. So they rather just keep going with the flow. And sometimes people are afraid of the backlash, so they don't speak up. And if anyone is familiar with Twitter, it's a war zone over there. You don't want to get trolled. And Teresa's fans, also, guys, they're famous for doxing people and harassing you in the worst ways. So I think a lot of people are almost afraid to go against the grain and say, wait a minute, she's not who I thought. She's not namaste. She's really a fucking nightmare. And, I don't like her anymore. They're afraid almost. So it's crazy that they see the receipts, the hardcore fans, and they just turn a blind eye. But sometimes, David, they turn a blind eye if it doesn't benefit them. But when it does, they accept it. Like, all about the lies over there.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until I dropped the Melissa Feaster text. It wasn't until I dropped the Melissa Feaster texts that she accepted them to be true. So she, for months, was like, oh, this girl's putting out fake receipts. Those, even Teresa went on Watch What Happens Live and said, prove it to Andy. This is not real. That's not me. I'm not involved. And the moment I dropped Melissa Feaster's text where Melissa Feaster called Roxanne a bitch, then Roxanne tweets like, thanks, Gabriela, for putting this out. I'm like, I see it now. Like, thanks. Like, she was thanking me for posting the receipt. And I thought, wait a minute, girlfriend, for months you've been saying they were fake. So now, because Melissa Feaster called you a bitch, they're real? Well, what about when Teresa was telling me, to slip into this DM or having me reach out to Brittany to damage John Fuda? They were fake then. So it's like, I think these people are only accepting it for the truth when it suits them. And if not, they're turning a blind eye to it because it's going to paint Teresa for who she really is. And they don't want to accept that.
So interesting to me. It's so much easier not to have a side and just to be like, what are the actual facts here, people?
Amen. And you know what? Let me tell
Right?
you really quick, David. I was just talking to a good friend of mine the other day, and she was like, what has the fall from grace been like? Because, girl, you were like, a lot of people loved you. You were that little baddie account. They loved it. What's the fall from grace been like? And I said, guess what, bitch? It's been liberating AF. It feels good. And you know that feeling, David, because you don't kiss nobody's ring. You get to
No.
say and do and be what you want to be, and you owe no one anything. So it's been crazy, it's been wild, but it's been very liberating to tell the truth and to put it all out there and to not like owe loyalty to a side.
It's
It's
much easier. You just look at the facts, you have an opinion, and you move on with life, and you don't have to ever remember what you said, and you can have a totally different opinion in 2 days if you learn new facts. It's like it is liberating. It's so amazing. Like I don't understand why more people
yeah.
don't do it. We're heading into the finale. Like you've told us, like what can we expect from the finale? Like I said, everything you told us some of this last time you were here, but like what can we expect from the finale?
Yeah, so the last time I was here, I touched on mainly the fight between Danielle Cabral and Jen Aydin. So they start going back and forth. It's very petty. I think even in my notes with Jennifer, she had mentioned that something about her followers on social media came up. Like they were just bickering back and forth. Um, it was just nonsense. Like they were discussing how throwing digs about how, well, no one's at your parties, they're always empty. And then Jennifer Aydin talks about how nobody was at Danielle's kids' parties, and then Danielle got pissed because she brought up the children. And then at some point, Jen Aydin looks at Danielle and she says, well, you wear the bra, but your husband has the boobs. And then boom, Danielle Cabral loses it. She picks up that pitcher, which, by the way, David, a lot of people are saying it was a glass pitcher, but per my notes with Jen Aydin said it was plastic, that the glass that did break was the martini glass that she was drinking from, and the wine glass
This
that
is
was
in the finale, right? Not what we already saw.
No, this is finale.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the finale, her and Danielle are going back and forth. And then after the Nate Cabral comment, which, guys, let me just tell you what a hypocrite Jen Aydin is. For her to shame Nate Cabral for having a gynecomastia surgery, which is, to reduce the size of his male chest, for her to throw that dig at Danielle to piss her off and shame Nate, that is like hypocrisy on many levels because Bill Aydin has had that exact surgery. And number two, Jen likes to brag about how she lives in a castle and has this fabulous lifestyle. Well, she gets to afford that life thanks to her husband, who is a successful plastic surgeon. So, how are you going to shame somebody when you make a living off of plastic surgery? So, I just call hypocrisy there. But anyway, they go back and forth. And then she picks up this water pitcher, which, by the way, also tea on the inside. Those water pitchers that were placed on the table that were filled with ice and like sliced lemon and water, production brought those in to like pretty up the scene. So at Rails, they have like those metal ugly canisters wrapped with like a dish towel.
Yeah.
Um, and they come around and refill your ice water as needed. But when they film these scenes, you guys, sometimes production will bring in props and like extra pictures or pillows to like, fix up the scene wherever they're filming. So production themselves, Jen told me that it was production who brought in those pictures, but she did tell me they were plastic. So there's a lot of tea out there that Danielle Cabral's an animal. She threw a glass pitcher. Oh my God. Like they're trying to jump down Danielle's throat for that. But Jen Aydin herself told me the pitchers were plastic. But there was broken glass because, Jen Aydin was drinking a martini and there was actual like wine glasses around them at every place setting. So anyway, as Danielle's husband gets insulted and it just sets her off, she picks up this plastic water pitcher and she flings it at Jen Aydin, and Jen Aydin has a salad in front of her. So the salad plate goes all over her. She, has salad all over her lap. The plate falls on the ground. It breaks. The martini glass spills all over her, falls to shatters. The same with the wine glass next to her. And at that moment, Danielle's just going crazy. So is Jen. But Jen said she looks at the producers and she points to the door and she's like, "Get her the fuck out of here. I want her gone. Get her out." And that Danielle was shouting like, "I don't fucking care if I get fucking fired. I'm not fucking leaving. Fuck her. She's an animal. She's a fucking animal." Like she was talking shit to Jen. So you guys, I did share all of this last time I was here with you, David, but what I did not share was what happened after that whole incident. So this is new tea and this stuff is not out there. So they all return back to the table. And so then these are part of Teresa's notes with me. So once everyone comes back, and Jen did tell me, guys, that when they all return back to the table, that Jen Fessler was like, "I don't want none of this shit around me." Like Jen Fessler checks out, boom, she leaves. So I don't even think Jen Fessler witnessed round two between Teresa and Margaret because she
Is
checked out early. But Jen did say
Did Danielle come back to the table though, or she left?
she did. And Jennifer Aydin told me she was like a queen. She was like, "Yes, okay," to production. "Danielle can have a seat at my table." She said she even behaved like queen like. She